Hello and welcome to the Hairdresser Strong Show. I'm your host, Robert Hughes, and this is my guest, Shawn Leonard. Today, we're going to hear his story from aspiring stylist to becoming a salon owner. Shawn, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Shawn Leonard, coming to you from Alexandria, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C.
Welcome back. Last time we talked with Shawn, we discussed how he got his first salon job, and now we're going to pick up right where we left off and talking about how he went from that point to becoming a salon owner. Here it is. And then, so how long did you work there? And did you work there until you decided to open up a salon?
I worked there as I apprenticed, okay. and this salon was like Washingtonian, like all these accolades and class galore and all this stuff. And I had to do that transition from an assistant to the floor. And it was pretty funny because they were growing as a salon as well. And they were like, we don't even physically have a station for you unless we expand the electric or extend the station out. And I was like, with my blue collar background, I was like, are you telling me you just need electrics run and this and that? And they were like, yeah. So, and also at the time I ended up married with a kid and young and literally out of hair school with no clientele, having to feed a mouth, and wow. do all that. Yeah. And that was scary. So they were like, yeah, we need to build a station. And I said, no problem. So I called my cousins up in Ohio and they came down for the weekend, and we literally ran the electric from the top floor to the electric box and built a station for me. Nice. And I worked 7 days a week building a clientele.
There you go.
Because I had a different motivation going on because there was a baby growing in my soon-to-be wife's tummy, Yeah, and that's a whole nother level of motivation. And I made it happen. And having a corporate sales background, I ended up going and cold calling offices to get clients while I was building my first chair.
Nice. Did that work?
It worked.
Yeah.
I went in, cold called, asked for who the decision maker was in the office. When they came out, they were expecting this corporate sales gimmick. And I said, no, hey, I'm just a hairdresser in the area, and come into the salon. Let me give you a freebie. And if people like your hair and you like your hair or whatever, give my card out.
Nice. Cool.
And you're
go.
Yeah.
So how long did you work at this salon, and how long did it take you to build up a book?
It took me about a year.
Okay.
And I still had this eye vision for being a city hairdresser and not a suburban hairdresser.
Okay.
And I also was still, at the time, even though I was starting to build and make a living, I basically was still the low man on the totem pole and was getting the hand-me-downs and the crazies from all the senior stylists, Okay. And I was like, I do not want this, I was like, this is not what I want. And so I was offered a chair in the city from a hairdresser that I knew, or a stylist that I knew, that he had a huge staff walkout. And so I thought that might be my opportunity to make a move so I could have some of my clientele follow me there, because it was in Georgetown. And I also thought I could pick up some of the stragglers that were left behind after a walkout.
Yeah.
And I possibly could become a starlet within a salon that needed to be rebuilt.
Yeah. And so how long did you stay there until you decided to open up a salon?
Oh, that salon was a shit show.
Okay.
Salon, like coming into it. Yeah. And there's a reason why people walked out,
There you go. Usually is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I understood that. And but for me, I had, again, another motivation to do, right. my kids or my child and stuff, Right. So I stuck through it all, and I knew, like, look, the busier you are on the floor, the more you're out of the staff room,
Totally.
the less you're in the negativity.
Yeah.
And all of the shenanigans that goes on around you doesn't really matter, because you're focused in on you and your clients and making money. And that is a motivator, you know, like people could be dramatic as all they want. And like people can be, you know, in fighting within the salon all they want and all that kind of stuff. But the busier you are, all that stuff fades away.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people, when I talk to especially the young stylists, that is something that they talk about. They don't want to be in a place where they have to like escape negativity. They just want to be placed somewhere where they're not. So how long did it take you to staying there to where you decided it was time to open up a salon or move salons?
Sure. I even tried to help the owner like with business ideas and like management and recruitment, and all kinds of stuff, you know. And again, I had this vision for a hair salon when I was in hair school, and I was almost 29 at the time, and I was making good money, like owned a house, had equity, like all these responsibilities that came quick and fast, you know.
Yeah.
And credit scores that were phenomenal, you know. Like I have enough money in the bank, I have enough of a book in the bank, and I have a vision that I want to create, and I'm gonna walk. And I was like, I'm gonna rent a chair temporarily until I find a space, until I find a home, to where I can open up my own place.
Yeah.
And I was looking across the bridge in Virginia, even in Arlington Town Center. The Arlington Town Center was just being built, and I almost signed a lease there. And you know, I initially had a partner too, that was like Gerard Kieran's, who's like a well-known educator. And lo and behold, my old place of employment, the guy who I was trying to help, went under. And the landlord unexpectedly called me and was like,
wow.
I understand you're looking for a salon. I said, I am. He said, let's get together and let's talk. So that happened.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you think that by putting yourself out there and offering advice and stuff, that maybe your old boss told your landlord to hit you up?
It could have been that. It could have been just keeping positivity out there and not being the negative Nilly out there that people tend to be, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So
cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of hard, diligent, like consistent work, a lot of sacrifice of free time, a lot of education and working towards being the best version of yourself, as well as staying positive and try not to participate in any of the negativity. And that kind of like led you, and then chasing a dream at the same time and being true to yourself. Sounds like it all led you up to being a salon owner.
It did. It really did. And at the time too, it was like perfect storm. You know, I read a book, Purpose Driven Life, you know, Rick Warren and all this stuff. And, you know, what's your purpose and meaning on the earth and all that kind of stuff. So like for me, a lot of life, even still, is spirituality and staying humble, and that, you know, even from behind a chair that's a big part of who I am and my ethos, you know? So,
cool.
Yeah,
that's an awesome story. And I think that is a good place to wrap it up and prepare for our next conversation on the pros and cons of salon ownership. You know, it's a lot of work, and Shawn will share that with us next time. So until then, I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much, Shawn, for being with us.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Cool. All right.